Buckeye Nation, what's poppin'? Crazy Dog coming at you on the Buckin' Crazy YouTube channel with my Ohio State Buckeyes, Minnesota Golden Gophers Week 6 game preview as our undefeated 4-0, still number 1 ranked, reigning, defending national champions. Ohio State Buckeyes are back at the Horseshoe for their one and only home game in the month of October. And it just so happens to be a night game, which is pretty cool, especially for recruiting purposes, right? But yeah, they're back at the Horseshoe this week as they welcome the 3-1 Minnesota Golden Gophers to town. And looking at what Minnesota has done so far this year, I mean, considering the opponents, okay, they beat Buffalo 23-10. All right. They beat Northwestern State 66-0. Ooh. Then they go and lose to Cal 27-14. Okay. And then in the last game, they beat Rutgers 31-28. So, not too shabby, right? Not bad at all. Of course, we've all seen what Ohio State has done. Beat the then number 1 ranked Texas Longhorns 14-7. They smoked Grambling State. They suffocated Ohio. And they pretty much did the same thing to Washington out west. Yeah, they went on the road and just shut down Washington. And it's crazy because when we first hired Matt Patricia, a lot of Buckeye fans were kind of skeptical about him, right? Because he didn't really work out in the NFL. But man, so far, this defense, I think, in my opinion, might honestly be better than last year's, coaching wise. Like, damn, bro. They bring in this dude, Matt Patricia, and he kind of puts a little NFL type of emphasis on this defense in terms of like a scheme. And it's like, damn. Our leading sack getter is Caden freaking Curry. That's pretty cool. Considering last year, Caden was like a, number 3 or number 4 edge rusher. You barely really heard his name because, of course, JT and Jack were the main guys. But this year, I wasn't really sure what to expect from Kenyatta and Caden, Bo Atkinson, and those guys. And overall, they've been pretty good. Not gonna lie. Now, historically against Minnesota, Ohio State is 47-7. Wow. Now, they did have one win vacated, 2010. But if you add that game, that would be what? 13 straight wins? Technically, because we haven't lost to Minnesota since 2000. Yeah. And I guess since that 2010 win was vacated, that technically snapped our win streak. But in reality, it didn't. So you could just say we've won 12 in a row against Minnesota. And from what I heard, there has been discussions about possibly reinstating those wins from the 2010 season. So we'll see what happens there. But still, I mean, we haven't lost to Minnesota since 2000 and 7 times in history. That's actually insane. Wow. Now, real quick, let's get into the visitor list. And as you see, it's a pretty hefty list. 2026, you see Landry Bredy making a return. He's a current NC State commit. Then you have former Clemson commit edge rusher Dre Quinn. Of course, Kerry Wilder will be in town. He committed a while back. He's been an absolute monster this year. He's actually a 5-star now, believe it or not. Yeah, so how about that? Larry Johnson has himself a 5-star edge rusher now. Yeah. Dude is going to be an absolute monster at Ohio State, for sure. And then you have linebacker Jacob Curry. Oh my God, could you imagine if we had two guys named Curry in our defense next year? Oh my goodness. That would be fun. Curry. And then probably one of the bigger names, 2026 defensive back Kamari Bing, current Maryland commit, will be in town on an official visit, just like Curry. And from what I'm hearing from the people who cover Ohio State recruiting, it sounds like they're really going to try to make a play on Kamari Bing. Same thing with, of course, Quinn and Brady as well, and even Curry. But you look at the class of 2027 visitors, I think one of the bigger names is definitely offensive lineman Quay Ford out of Texas. Recently got added to the list. Yeah, so I have edge rusher Jace Brewer from Indiana. You have, who else? Raylon Henry. And here's what's crazy. I was looking at all the crystal balls from the past year or so. Believe it or not, there was a crystal ball placed for Raylon Henry to Ohio State back in 2024. Never even noticed it. Yeah. And you look at the bottom of the visitor list. No, your eyes are not going bad. You're not tripping. That is indeed two class of 2029 visitors coming to town. In quarterback Walker Snee, the son of Chris Snee, and linebacker Austin Phillips. God, we're already getting into the class of 2029 making visits. Wow. That's nuts. Recruiting is something else. Now, as far as boom watches go, nothing new is developed. So let's get into the keys to a Buckeye W tomorrow night. Number one, take care of the ball. You can't give a team like Minnesota any sort of chance to beat you. So, yeah, I mean, we are the superior team on the field, but you give them enough chances, they'll get you, right? You don't want that. Number two, get after the quarterback. Do what you've been doing the last few weeks. Get after the quarterback and force that dude to make mistakes, and then take advantage of those. Number three, this kind of ties into that. Keep eating on defense. This defense has been stifling so far this year. Not even a Jed Fish offense with one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the country, in Damon Williams, could figure out this defense. Yeah. Hopefully, we have the Minnesota quarterback seeing ghosts and hearing footsteps tomorrow night. Get it? Because Halloween's coming up. And most importantly, don't get caught looking ahead. Because you look at our schedule coming up, we have Illinois and Wisconsin coming up soon on the road. Like I said, this is our one and only home game in the month of October. The next time Ohio State is back in the shoe won't be until November 1st when Penn State comes to town. That's actually nuts. But yeah, they have Illinois next week in Champaign at noon. And look what they did to USC. And then, of course, you have Wisconsin. And then you have Penn State. In fact, I'm pretty sure there's a bye week between the Wisconsin and Penn State games. Let me just check to make sure. It's always good to fact check yourself every once in a while. So there is indeed a bye week between the Wisconsin and Penn State games. And then after the Penn State game, you go to Purdue, you host UCLA. Oh, God. Oh, Nico. He's gonna be think about seeing ghosts. Boy, that game is probably gonna be an afternoon game, if I had to guess. And then of course you host Rutgers, and then you have the team up north in their place to end the regular season. But yeah, it's important to not look ahead because again, you get caught looking ahead. You're not focused on Minnesota. They could smack you in the face and catch you off guard, right? And with the way this offense has been playing, which they've been playing good, but if you've noticed, they ain't really are turning up like we thought. They're taking their time, low and slow, letting the defense just handle things, right? Every once in a while they'll hit a big play, but they're not really, turning it up like we saw in the playoffs. If I had to make a comparison to like a car, I'll say this offense is like in second gear right now. When we know at their best, when they want to, they could turn it up to fifth gear, which is essentially super speed, like just blowing down the field quick as hell. Which I'm sure they could get to that level if they really, really needed to. But they don't really have to open up the playbook much. They're keeping it simple and really, taking it easy with Julian Sand. They're not really letting him rip it. And that has Buckeye fans kind of annoyed because, as you can imagine, with the weapons that we have, they want to see Julian let it rip. But they're not going to have him taking any unnecessary risks, right? They're essentially babying him. So don't get caught looking ahead and take care of business tomorrow night. Sounds easy enough, right? Yeah. Now getting to my players to watch on offense is Jeremiah Smith. I don't think Minnesota's going to be able to stop him. Heck, slow him down. Nah. And then on defense, I got to go with the Cadens, Perry and McDonald. Those two have been a force so far up front. Pleasant surprise, too, right? Caden McDonald has essentially taken the role that Tyleek Williams had last year. He's that monster in the middle that's plugging up the holes and just wreaking havoc. And then Kenyatta and Caden on the edge, they're doing their thing as well. Now, it'd be cool if we saw a little bit more out of Bo Atkinson, right? What about Logan George or Zion Grady? That'd be cool, right? But yeah, this is going to be an interesting one to watch on defense. I know their quarterback's probably going to try and get the ball out quick, knowing what he's up against. But if you're in the secondary, this is the perfect chance to try to jump a route or something. Make a big play. Get the shoe jumping. All right, so that's pretty much it for that. And then, of course, to wrap it all up, my prediction. And as you can imagine, I have Ohio State winning pretty convincingly. I have Ohio State winning 42-10. So yeah, Ohio State gives up a touchdown, something that they've rarely done this year. In fact, so far this year, through now 4 games, they've given up a grand total 2 touchdowns. Of course, the one against Texas that honestly shouldn't have even counted, which that's whatever. And then you had the one against Ohio at the very beginning of the second half on a deep ball. And in Washington, they had a couple chances, but our defense was just stifling. If our defense does that to Minnesota, I don't think Minnesota even scores. It would be nice to put up another goose egg, right? But we'll see what happens. Because again, our next 3 games after this one, they're insanely tough. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got. And should be a fun Saturday night. So, as always, hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell. And I'll see you guys tomorrow night for Ohio State and Minnesota. The way, we'll see what happens with the recruitment of 2027 defensive lineman Jalen Brewster, one of the top rated defensive tackles, I believe, in the country. He's committing tomorrow. In fact, from what I understand, I think it'll be tomorrow night. Who knows? Ohio State is in the running for him. And as far as do I think we can land any of the kids that are visiting tomorrow night, I think it's very possible. In fact, let me go back to the visitor list and I'll talk about who I realistically think we can land. So, Landry Brady, I think we can definitely get him. Dre Quinn, and I'll say Kamari Bing. Not really sure about Jacob Curry, though. But I think Brady, Quinn, and Bing are all extremely logical boom targets for us. I would not be shocked if after the game tomorrow, I go on 3 and I see a crystal ball placed for Kamari Bing to Ohio State. I would not be shocked. I mean, we've already seen a crystal ball placed for Brady to Ohio State. Just a matter of time and when that happens. And we'll see if anyone else, jumps on as well. One thing I almost forgot, of course, Jeremiah Smith's brother will once again be in town. So I think he'll be at every home game. But yeah, cool to see, right? And from what I understand, there are also 2 unnamed mystery official visitors as well that have not been revealed. From what I understand, again, they are committed elsewhere, but they're not really massive names. So we'll see who they are. Of course, once they get on campus, then I'm sure their names will be revealed. They can only be hidden for so long, right? If anything, we'll probably hear about them once the game gets going, right? So, that being said, I'm Crazy Dog coming at you on the Bucking Crazy YouTube channel. And I'll see you guys tomorrow night for Ohio State and Minnesota. Go Buckeyes. I'm Crazy Dog. OH. I'm out. Bye-bye. Yeah.